Hello, friends.
Hi.
Hello, Ms. Whitney.
Hi, Bart.
Look who I got tonight.
What a super special treat for the Health Made Simple show. A return guest. We have cajoled her back.
Like this. Oh.
Bart and I promised you a good time tonight, Kelly.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. We're gonna do a little deep dive. We're gonna do a deep dive on our organic cafe and kind of go behind the scenes a little bit. We'll get into some of the things that maybe our clientele haven't heard about.
It's unfiltered because I'm in-house.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll get into this a little bit in just a moment. So you just let me know whenever you're ready on your side and tell me, give me a thumbs up when we're ready to rock and roll here.
Awesome. We are nearly there. Unfiltered Kelly. I love it. All right.
If it's any different, I'm just trying to make I don't see our video. You seeing video from us, okay?
I do see video from you. A-okay. You look beautiful.
Okay.
The both of you.
All right. So you just let me know. We're ready to rock and roll. We're going to do a little deep dive here.
We're ready to rock, Bart.
All right. Well, first of all, just welcome back, everyone. So if you're joining us for the first time here at Health Made Simple Show, love having you. Keep doing your thing for the guests returning. It was a special guest tonight, the one and only Miss Kelli Precourt.
Hello.
Yes, my amazing wife. And tonight we're going to do a little deep dive. This is going to be a great conversation because there's so much more to opening or having an organic cafe than a lot of people think. And this is going to give us an opportunity to share with our community, with our people, and anyone who has questions, quite frankly, about the details behind the scenes. The fun thing about this is that we didn't know any of this. This was a new adventure for us. This is a first shot at it. And this individual over here was she spearheaded it. So I'm going to ask her a lot of the hard questions, or just any of the questions, quite frankly, that just show up. So a little bit of a deep dive. So for those of you with us first time, the whole goal is, I think, if we can, the best we can in kind of in the theme of the Health Made Simple show, we're going to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Which also means keeping it real and raw.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. And again, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat here, and then we'll just rock and roll. So I want to start with the probably the fundamental question, the one that kind of always thinks that I get asked all the time. You got all these businesses, right? So you're an entrepreneur, you dabble in real estate for a long time. You have a health studio, you have a yoga studio, you have a yoga teacher training school that you run. Why open a cafe? Why? What, you don't have enough things? What's going on?
Yeah, I know. You forgot dogs. Did you?
Yeah. We have a couple dogs. An
undisclosed amount. It's it's an interesting question. And for me, the whole truth. Okay. So I'm not sure how many people actually know this story, but the building next door was accompanied by, it was a real estate company. And so when they went to sell it, the gentleman that was going to sell it came to Bart and he was like, hey, we had a lot of parking challenges at Balance. And he said, do you have any interest in purchasing it? And we were like, oh boy, we really need the parking. So it was a yes. Literally within 24 hours, the market was hot. It was like we didn't really have the opportunity to make a decision over a long period of time. So we made that decision, we pulled the trigger, and then we went from there. What would be a complementary business to Balance Health Studio? And with the cleanses, with all of the clinical nutrition that Bart does, we just figured it was the next thing on our journey.
And I remember when we first did that, the idea was that it was supposed to be just a smoothie shop with juices, with cold pressed juices. Yeah. And we're like, what we can do this. We do it every day.
Absolutely. Because we do it every day.
Right. And then things changed.
They did. It didn't seem to make sense just to make smoothies and juice. Like we wouldn't have been there with just smoothies and juice.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then that was when we had an opportunity, because we had Balance, we were literally just getting feedback from our clientele and I remember one of the most predominant thoughts of people, we'd ask people, what would you love in an organic place? Everyone said, I'd love to get something that's healthy, but it's fast and it's easy.
Absolutely.
And then yummy.
Yummy.
Yeah. How hard was that?
Well, it's interesting because I think making food for you and I is much different than making food for like the public, right? Because like I think about it, like we eat for nutrition, and sometimes our smoothies are not public ready, like they're just nutrition. So it was difficult, like formulating things that they were yummy for kids, for families, and for people to come in and understand the menu, because the menu can be a little bit confusing just because we use some specialty ingredients that maybe most people aren't used to seeing in a smoothie.
I'll dive into those in just for a moment. Yeah, and I want to go back to the kids because
I
think when we opened up a healthy organic cafe, and a lot of people who know us closely knew that we're not necessarily foodies. We often would say that we eat to survive. And yet we knew that that was not a good business model. So we had to create, and we had a lot of help. So thank goodness we had a lot of good friends that pitched in.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we found ourselves very kid friendly.
Definitely.
And they actually loved a lot of the smoothies. And that was the fascinating part, as long as they didn't know the ingredients. And let's go there in just a moment, because when they just took it, they drank it, people were like, oh my God, this feels like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about some of those ingredients.
Yeah.
What is when someone comes to the counter, they're looking at the menu board, what is one of the ingredients that stands out above the rest that people go, whoa, I'm not sure about that one?
Yeah, I think definitely zucchini. Like one of the things that we did when we formulated the smoothies is that we didn't want it to be just a sugar bomb, because a lot of times when you go to a restaurant or you go to get a smoothie, it's like loaded with sugar. So what we did is we kind of formulated it where there was a vegetable kind of hidden within the banana. And so we put frozen zucchini in a lot of the formulas, and most people are like, I don't want to do that. And we always, and the team is so amazing because they'll say, Victoria will say, if you don't like it, I will take it back and we'll get you a new one. And I don't think anyone has ever returned a smoothie with zucchini in it, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I know when you first introduced that to me, and you said, we're going to put zucchini in it. I was like, we're going to hoop a who? And you're like, well, we always do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. And that fit the perfect formula for those of you that watch the Health Made Simple show. I'm always talking about God's garden. And I'm also talking about the concept of having a fiber, a fat, and a protein.
Yeah.
And if you have a fiber, fat, and protein in your meal, you're home run, like you're eating good.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, really all the smoothies.
Well, and I think that obviously because you were side by side during the formulation, that it was important that they were in, the fat, the fiber, and the protein as well. So yeah, it was a team effort.
Okay. So talk to me about the name.
Prema. Yeah. A lot of people come in and call it Prema, but it's actually Prema. And it's a Sanskrit word that means love. And so the love it's a little bit deeper than it's kind of like that relationship that you have with God. So that type of love. So for me, being in the yoga world and being so influenced by yoga, that word to me just meant a lot, because it's a way in which we can just operate in a really beautiful place in this world if we are loving, period.
I remember when we were playing around with all the different names, all the different logos. And when you told me what that was, and that was kind of a new verbiage for me, Prema. And I remember thinking, man, that was it. Because that's the word so often that I want to share clinically. Yeah. That it's not necessarily about the one diet, the one program, even the one cleanse for that matter, that when we end up having that self-love and we choose to eat food that serves the human body and it serves us well. And it really just seemed to represent so many of all the stuff that we do coming together at one time. And there's the name. So it may not mean a lot to other people, but it has some deep meaning to you and I. And I think And there's often a surprise to me how many people know what it means, the deep root of it, the Sanskrit name.
Yeah, sweet. It is. Yeah. And especially the yoga world. I mean, I think a lot of the yoga world is familiar with it, which is beautiful. And you know, a lot of people will come in and ask what it means.
Yeah.
And when they find out that it's love, I think that they're like, oh, that's really cool, you know?
Yeah. All right. So let's shift gears just a little bit here and let's talk about organic.
Yes,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay. So when we talk about organic, is this a fad? Is this a temporary diet? Is this a new cool thing? Is it going away? Or is this a lifestyle thing? And is this something that we're going to see in the future more and more of? And how important really is it to be an organic cafe versus a kind of sort of, I'll do my best this week organic cafe?
Yeah, because you see that a lot. And so my answer to that is consumers are becoming very conscious. And so they understand what is going into our foods. And I don't know if it's social media or the amount of people that are getting sick, but I feel as if people are waking up and they're understanding the importance of putting organic into their bodies. And so the other thing is that I want to talk about is, you know, a lot of people will talk about it's non-GMO, or it's local from the farmer's market. Mm. And that doesn't mean that it's not sprayed with chemicals. Yeah. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's organic, period. And the other thing too is we didn't want a place that we only picked a couple things off the menu. We wanted to feel comfortable eating everything that's in that place. And so for you and I, we were going to do it right. So our standards are super high, and sometimes so high that it's difficult because, you know, as a business owner, the profits aren't always there.
Okay. A lot to unpack there. So let me back up for a moment, just to organic, you know, so especially as a healthcare provider, and how this was extremely important to me, being organic and all the time. So there's a trust factor that happens there.
Yes, 100%.
And, you know, having the cleanse this year and literally have hundreds of people doing it, and a conversation I have with people all the time is to flip it over sometimes. Instead of just saying organic, like it's the weird thing, we should be naming everything else as if it has toxins. Mm-hmm. So it's your commercial food and toxins with it. And if we started to think that way or flip the verbiage, I think we would start to have this recognition of that. If it's not organic, it's really not okay for the human body. Yeah.
You know, last night you did the wrap up for the cleanse, mm-hmm. and you mentioned it being like the weirdos that are doing like the good things. And I was thinking, no way. The weirdos are the ones that are eating conventional fruits and vegetables. So I wanted to change the verbiage with that. Whitney agrees.
Yes. I wonder if I might toss a question in here from the crowd.
Yeah.
So Judy's just asking, where do you all shop for all organic?
So it's so funny. I sent Whitney a text last night. I went to the new Publix right across the street, mm-hmm. At Waterstown. And I was really frustrated because there wasn't a lot of organic. So I went to the produce manager and I said, you guys are new. I'm like, there's so many people coming to this Publix, but I'm so disappointed in the products that you're carrying. So he's told me to go to like customer service and chat with them, and they would do their best to bring in more. Yet I will say that we specifically shop at Whole Foods to get organic produce, because we don't sway. We eat organic produce. So if there's no organic produce, we're not eating. We go somewhere else.
You know, I would add to that is that sometimes we end up using both.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Right. So we might not have someone available at Whole Foods, and it might be available public or vice versa. Yeah. And I think I would add to that is that when we first came down here, and I remember very specifically with the Publix, I want to give a shout out to them, because the Inlet Beach Publix, when we first got there, it was the same thing.
It was. They had organic kale only.
Yeah. And every day we'd walk in, we would talk to the produce manager and we'd say, hey, can I get some more spinach or organic arugula, or how about some sweet potatoes? And they just kept showing up. Yeah. And then about a year and a half, 2 years later, I had the same conversation with them, telling me that it was the largest growing section of their supermarket was their organic. So everyone listen, make sure, and you don't have to come across mean or nasty or anything, but let them know they're a business just like Prema is. And we want to know what you want. And if it's within our wheelhouse, we'll provide it. And trust me, a grocery store wants you to buy their groceries from them. So,
and I don't know where that person lives, Judy, yet you can get produce shipped to you. If you're in a small town and there's only Piggly Wiggly and they don't have any organic produce, you can definitely get it shipped into your house.
All right. So let me go back. We good? You have any more questions there yet?
Yeah, beautiful. Keep going.
Beautiful. All right. So you said something else about non-GMO. So I know we have 4 standards, and I'll let you talk about any one of them, but there's specifically, I want to talk about being mindful of getting lured into situations where things might not be as healthy as they look. So I know that at Prema, there's some absolutes, 100% organic, 100% of the time.
Yeah.
There's no soy.
No soy.
There's no canola oil.
Mm-mm.
And there's no gluten.
No.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's take those for a moment and talk about how about the labeling that just says no non-gluten or says non-GMO.
Yeah.
There is a phrase out there, and I'd love it, and you can elaborate on it if you would. There's a new phrase out there, and I kind of like it. I think they call it greenwashing. It's almost like brainwashing, but it's greenwashing.
Yeah.
So if you would just elaborate a little bit of what that is, because I think that's an important part for consumers who are looking to eat better, to serve their bodies. What do they have to look out for in some of that?
Yeah, I think the labeling is really, really challenging if you go to the grocery store. And also if you go to a company, and I love Whole Foods, but sometimes they have things that look like it's really, really healthy. And then you actually turn and look at the label and it's not. So I think being really conscious of what is on the labels. But as far as greenwashing, it's when a company acts as if they're trying to impact the environment in a really positive way, but they only do it to kind of trick the consumer. So, yeah.
Yeah, I say that because I get the question all the time. Well, doc, it was non-gluten. I said, well, we still have to be mindful, have to be careful. And oftentimes my simple advice is start with the foundation of organic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if we start there, you've got solid foundation going on.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's shift it.
So with the organic produce, I just want to say something. Organic produce and veggies, absolutely. But you have to be diligent about reading labels, because you can go to the grocery store and you're like, I'm going to buy these organic sunflower seeds, and you flip it over and there's canola oil in them.
Great point.
So you have to be willing to take the time to know what you're putting in your body, especially if it's in a package.
Yeah. So since we're calling this a deep dive, let's go behind the scenes a little bit and let's talk about some of the obstacles that having an organic cafe with those standards, 100% organic, 100% of the time.
Yep. No
canola oil, absolutely no, non-GMO, no gluten, no soy.
Yeah.
So let's start with, let's just start with just, we'll pick an item. Let's just pick chicken. Okay.
Yeah.
How hard was it to find a purveyor to fit that model right there?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was when we first started working with some of the reps. A lot of people on 30A use a certain farm. And so I was like, oh, awesome, and I met with the sales rep and we chatted for a while, and I asked, what do the chickens eat? And of course she's like, this girl's crazy. But I was like, what do the chickens eat? And she's like, that's a great question. I have no idea. So she didn't know. So I specifically got on the phone and called the farm, because for us, organic means that these animals are eating non-GMO organic food.
Sure.
So the farm that I originally looked at, basically all natural, cage free, like whatever, all those things that they say that doesn't really matter. It ended up that they were feeding the chickens a soy, grain or whatever it is. Yeah.
Which is not a natural food.
Not a natural food. And most likely 100% genetically modified.
And the challenge for listeners to understand, why wouldn't soy be good for like a chicken when it's genetically modified, and especially a product like soy? It's estrogenic, which means that it will increase the amount of hormones that the chicken has.
Yeah.
So you're eating an animal that has complete hormone imbalance.
Well, I mean, like, I know you've talked about it before on the show, but our young women these days who are eating conventional chickens have massive boobs. I mean, and it's obviously from estrogen dominance. And it's like, people don't want to talk about it, but it's true. It's like what we're putting in our body is affecting our bodies.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of the other obstacles. So sourcing, I know, is a challenge. Do you ever end up in a situation where literally on Tuesday when the truck comes, you don't have food?
Yeah. I mean, there are times that where we get our food, it just doesn't come in. So then we scramble and do what we can to provide for the community. Yeah.
All right. And then how about some of the other obstacles?
Yeah, there's you know, for us, there's quite a bit because we have such a high standard and we're not willing to, like, you know, you can go to some other juice bars or restaurants where maybe they are all organic and then they'll have the little asterisk of like all the things that aren't organic that day. And so we don't do that. So for us, you know, it's dealing with missing items in the kitchen. And then the other obstacles, I would say, packaging. You know, we will not put our beautiful cold pressed organic juice in plastic. We just will not do it. So
why not?
Because the plastic is so terrible for our health.
You know, earth as well, right?
And the earth. Yes. Thank you.
So back to the name, when we were thinking about Prema, it clicked a lot of our boxes personally.
Yeah.
With the opportunity to make sure that we're going to do the best that we can, even for the earth, for the love of life, for the love of the earth, for the love of our bodies. And that became a pretty big obstacle. And so as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, how often do you wrestle with that? Because your prices on packaging, on glass bottles, we didn't talk about those yet. So you're not going plastic bottles. So therefore your alternative is what? Glass. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, do you ever challenge yourself and say, man, I could just make so much more money if I just went back to plastic?
You know, it's fun. For a moment, it goes through.
Or is that just me that does
that?
That's
you. For a moment, I'm like, I couldn't sleep. I could never serve the beautiful juices that we press, cold press organic produce that like we just get and put it in plastic. It just like, I don't want to drink it.
Yeah.
So
I jokingly say that I think about it all the time. You know, that it wouldn't work for me as well. You know, I think about it all the time as an entrepreneur, and especially in an environment where, you know, food costs have definitely gone up, supplies have gone up,
and
labor.
Also, I do want to say, like, you know, we source our bottles from America. You know, we can get them cheaper in China. And so for us, we're doing what we can.
Doing what we can. Yeah. So this is a deep dive. This is now we're letting people in a little bit on kind of the intention behind opening this organic cafe. And it wasn't born as a result of we were in the restaurant business. It's a fantastic business. It was probably more born of we had to do something with the building. We bought a very expensive parking lot. And we knew that this would be of service. And then when we started to apply our philosophies that we have in life to our business, which there's no separation, right? At least not for you and I, and our team for that matter. Let's talk about that for a second. So people walk in, and one of my favorite comments that I get, and Whitney, we've talked about this, and you know this. One of my favorite comments that I get as a business owner is when people compliment our team. It lights me up. It really does, because they're an extension, as we call family. We're all in this together. We have an amazing family. We have an incredible people around us. So you have, I don't know, 10, 20 different team members over there. How do you get them to adopt this culture? Because a lot of them have never come from this, yet they're still able to work within it, even though they're not experts in organic, they're not experts in gluten and all the health derivatives. How do you get them to buy into this culture of love of
you know, honestly, I think it's contagious. It's when they come in and they train, they are with high vibe people that are in the kitchen and that are behind the counter and that are at balance. And the truth is that vibration is very magnetic. So for me, I think that the people that find us, it's like, to get a little woo-woo, they find us because they're searching for us. So
yeah, that's always been a fascinating, and I think it actually doesn't surprise me. You and I would travel for a healthy restaurant. We've gone to Pensacola to get a good smoothie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things I love about people who really enjoy the experience of nurturing themselves. And I think that's why the name Prema fits so well.
Yeah.
So let's go back to some of the obstacles here. So we know that there are challenges with costs. We know that there's produce supplies, there's potentially staffing supplies. And how about the idea of overcoming the idea that healthy food isn't always yummy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's real. I mean, we have people that come in looking for a Coca-Cola, and we try to turn them on to kombucha, so a lot of it is education. Yeah.
So let's talk formulas for a moment. We don't have to give away all the secret recipes. So earlier we talked about zucchini.
Yeah. Now
let's talk about let's talk about having superfoods in a latte.
Yeah.
So give me some insight on that and where that comes from, why that's so unique, and what's so unique about some of the things you have at Prema.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like can I make this ritual that I have every day a little bit healthier, right? So we have the organic coffee, obviously. And then just adding some superfoods to it, whether it's mushrooms or the lucuma or collagen or ashwagandha. I mean, it's just ways in which we can just do better for our bodies. And so a lot of people would see them on the shelf or at the health food store, and they won't know what they are, so they don't know how to use them. So what we've done is formulated some really simple and popular items that you can use in your coffee or in a smoothie. A lot of them don't taste like a lot, but they give you a lot of health benefits. So
this is almost embarrassing when I say, so you order me one every day, they get me one. What's mine?
You get a repair with no honey.
A repair with no honey, collagen, MCT.
Collagen, you do MCT oil, you do lucuma.
Which is fantastic. I often talk about how I don't eat when I work. So I kind of this extended fast, and I use that latte as part of my fuel because I get the fats from my brain. I have the collagen, so it keeps my physical body.
Vitamin C, lucuma.
Vitamin C, lucuma. So that's one of my favorite things about how we created that menu was that we can go through every single one and talk about the medicinal component of everything on the menu, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
And the thing is, during that formulation, I mean, you watched it, myself, Savannah, who helped me. It was mad scientist for months, buying products, shipping products in, just trying different, even just different peanut butters from raw to roasted to this one to this one. So it's like, we tested everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was really fortunate to be around for the beginning of Prema, guys, and the amount of taste testing that we did, like I can't even tell you.
Right.
My body was so fed, and we had these very beautiful guidelines that everything had to taste delicious, and everything had to meet human function and improve it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't simply creating something that was 100% organic, gluten-free, no canola oil, no soy. It also tasted amazing, and it brought you like path to health. And that stuff tastes good, y'all.
It's good. Real. It's good stuff.
So I'll give some examples. So I remember when we were making lattes that we wanted to have a fat in the majority of them.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to have vitamins, and whether it be coming from a mushroom or lucuma.
Yeah.
And when you think about a coffee, you're not thinking vitamins.
No.
Right? Thinking caffeine and get fueled up.
No.
So I love knowing that we have that medicinal, approach. Even the peanut butter balls.
Yeah.
They have fiber, fat, and protein in them.
Right.
Which is, and you think you're just eating this absolutely delicious little peanut butter ball. It has to be good. They can't be good for you.
Right.
Yet next thing you know, when you dive into it, you're looking at, the fiber there in there has come from the fig or the date, right? And then we have a fat in there, which is from the peanut butter. And then we have protein powder in there.
Yay.
In the little fat ball, which is absolutely amazing. All right. So
honey in there, but that's okay.
Honey. All right. There's a little honey in there.
It also happens to be like Bart's favorite product from
I
Prema.
know, right? They're pretty good. That's how I broke my cleanse, with the peanut butter ball.
Eric on Zoom is also saying a big yum to the peanut butter balls from Prema. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
So there are some other obstacles, and we're going to see them in our world, meaning that we are in the cold press juicing world.
Yeah.
And right now there's a trend to cut cost, that there's a little bit of, I'm going to call it the greenwashing, quite frankly.
It really is, actually.
There's a term out there called HPP, high pressured
Pasteurization.
Talk to that for a moment, because I think this is very confusing for the consumer. So let me give you an example. If you went right now to your local grocery store, you could probably go where their juice section is and pick up a celery juice. As many of you know, I'm a huge advocate of having celery juice. And typically your celery juice, once it's made cold pressed, you have about a 4-day shelf life. And that's about it. It's once that happens, it's going to oxidize, it's going to change, et cetera. And then you don't get the nutritional value out of it. If you go to the grocery store right now, you can find an organic celery juice that has 3+ months of a shelf life. I think anyone that is semi-awake in this scenario got to scratch their head and go, that doesn't work like that. I can't buy celery that lasts more than 4 days, never mind 3 months at a time. If you would share with the audience, without going into too much detail, but enough, what's HPP? How do we find it? And what does it mean to us when we're trying to buy nutrients? Are we still buying them?
Well, I think the easiest thing for our consumers to know and to really understand is that when they get a juice, whether it's at the grocery store or at a restaurant, you look at the date. And if it is more than 5 or 6 days, it means it has been HPP'd. And so when companies HPP, they do it to make it more shelf stable. And then they do it obviously for longer longer shelf life. Thank you. Yeah. So longer shelf life. So unfortunately, what happens is it denatures the beautiful juice that's actually pressed. So again, it's becoming very big in the industry, meaning the juice business, because people are recognizing that they can hold it longer. So profits go up higher.
Ship it cross country, hold it longer, have one facility. And that's unfortunately the consumer loses.
Yes.
And they're still paying top dollar for it.
And unfortunately, this is where the greenwashing comes in. A lot of people don't know it. Now, I know that I think it's the FDA does not allow them to write fresh juice
or natural.
When it's HPP.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
So they can still call it organic, but it can't be
cold pressed. They can still call it too.
Yeah, they can still call it those things, but they're very specific. I think can't be fresh. I think it can't be fresh anymore. I think you're right.
Yeah, it can't be fresh.
So it's unfortunate for the consumer, because you're buying organic food in theory for higher nutrients, less toxins.
Yeah.
And in the HPP scenario, unfortunately, you're no longer getting the nutrients. You're kind of just getting this vacant bottle of juice.
It denatures it. It goes down to room temperature, and it's like we bottle it and put it right in the fridge. So.
And some of the details for those people, like what is actually taking this is high pressure. The juice is already in the plastic
bottle.
It only works in plastic.
Yeah, you can't do it in glass.
You can't do it in glass. So the cold is penetrating through that plastic, which then of course we know is going to leach the plastics into that, that organic juice that you're buying. So
so I definitely, what I would like to say to our tribe is just really knowing what you're getting. So if you are going to a juice bar, look to see what that shelf life is, because unfortunately a lot of juice places now are using HPP, but we will never.
So we talked a little bit about the fact that we don't have soy.
Yes.
And soy I think it is the #1 crop in the United States. Yes. And as a result of it,
genetically modified.
It's genetically, about 99.9% of it is genetically modified. Why don't you like to use it in your products or in the cafe? Assuming, let's just say
I'm a woman and I don't want more estrogen in my body.
Yeah.
I think a majority of women are estrogen dominant, I would say. And it's just not something that is going to benefit me at all, or anybody. So, in small amounts, Potentially, I don't know. I mean, I try not to keep it in my diet at all.
Yeah, I know clinically that it's one of the ones that I almost always take out, especially
Yeah.
one that's experiencing
Yeah.
any level of hormone imbalance, which
Yeah.
might be breast tenderness, might be acne, might be irregular PMS. Soy has to go because it's going to drive up the estrogen markers. And again, it is the number one grown product in our country. So it's one of those ones, if you're out there and you're just trying to make, small gains, what are some of the things you're looking for? Soy would be one of them. So if you can knock the soy out, and fortunately, there's a lot of good alternatives out there. So
and it's in so much, all of the packaging. It's in so much packaging, and a lot of like the protein bars are using a soy isolate. So
we kind of skipped over it. Yeah, let's go back to the lattes. Let's go back to the coffee section.
Okay.
What's one of the ingredients that you get asked for very commonly that we do not have? That one, people sometimes get a little upset with it. So listen, I give them forbearance in the sense of people like their coffee ritual. They like their coffee the way they like it.
Yeah.
And when you don't have one of their things, which I want you to mention this thing in a moment. One, what is that thing that some people are actually surprised and sometimes offended that we don't carry?
So that would be oat milk.
Oat milk.
Yep.
And big surprise, right? Because isn't oat milk like supposed to be healthy and the new thing and all that good stuff?
If you work for Starbucks, maybe. So the thing about it's interesting at the coffee bar because it is such a craze, maybe not as much as it was like last year, but people, and I joke about Starbucks, but they're the ones that really kind of like brought oat milk to life. And so a lot of people, when they come in and they want oat milk, I'll ask them, why do you use oat milk? And they're like, oh, I like the taste of it. And then we will suggest trying cashew milk, which has natural oil within the nut, right? And we say we make it fresh. People don't realize that oats don't have a source of oil. So in order to make the milk frothy, they add oil.
What kind of oil?
You can imagine what oil they add. Canola oil.
So this is worth really creating some clarity for the audience. So oat milk is what you're telling me. The oat by itself does not have oil.
No.
To make it frothy, they add oil. And that oil that is being added to oat milk is canola oil.
Canola oil.
Which, if you've listened to the Health Made Simple show, this is not okay. This is stuff that human bodies and the liver just says, no. This is what probably is at the root of the majority of fatty liver disease, especially non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, is canola oil. Once it's in the body has a very, very difficult time processing it out. So it adds to a lot of weight gain, and the oat milk itself is a much higher fat content. And it's not so good. So what is the alternative? How have you gone about?
Yeah. So for us, we use cashew and coconut milk. And we do that because they're better for the earth too. I mean, we chose not to go with almond milk because almonds are not sustainable.
Let's talk about that because almond milk is very popular.
It is. And I love almond milk. I just didn't feel comfortable serving it at the restaurant, knowing how much we were going to go through. And so most companies will use the cartons, which have gums and, just a bunch of crap in there, basically.
Yeah. So this is one of those conversations about almonds when people say, well, why don't you recommend almond milk? And it's not because I don't think almond milk is good or healthy for us. It's really the impact that it's having on our environment.
Yeah.
And it's really about the water usage.
Right.
And it is definitely something that our nation has to look closer and closer attention to, especially if we're consuming massive amounts of almond milk. So you have the cashew milk, you make it in-house, or you buy it in a carton?
We make it in-house.
All of it? All of it?
Every single time.
It's a lot of work.
It is. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And that's why we have an amazing staff that shows up and they do all the things that need to be done to serve the community.
So you make gallons a day?
Gallons. In the summer, probably 10.
Okay. Do you store it in plastic?
No. We store it in glass.
In a restaurant, you store things in glass, but
it can get gnarly because we've had some spills.
And maybe breakages.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, we're having a little fun here because these are the things as the business owner we have to look at. And It's very interesting because it's super inconvenient if someone drops a gallon of almond milk that's in glass. I'm sorry, not almond milk, cashew milk or coconut milk, and it's in glass.
Yeah.
So we have the spillage issue, then we have the glass issue.
Yeah.
Where if that's plastic, no big deal, right? Pop and run.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation with our team, and our standards say, you know what, this is inconvenient, and this is part of what we signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even at home, I'm going to suggest and recommend, many of you have been to the Prema and you have bottles like this, and keep them. Like, this should be your new mechanisms. Like, so that, you know, it would be great if you just use these and put your water in at home. You're not drinking out of plastic bottles. You're making, you know, cashew milk at home. It's very easy.
We're going to do, Whitney and I were talking about it. We're going to do a fun little challenge in April for Earth Day, where we're going to ask people to not buy any beverages out of plastic, just for awareness. Cause that's how I started, right? Years and years and years ago, just unconsciously buying bottled water when you're outside. And now it's like, you have to prep. You bring your water with you instead of just buying a plastic bottle. So we're going to do that in April.
I'd
Right,
like to give yeah, we sure are. And just to give Kelli a little bit of a shout out here. For those of you who may not know, Kelli comes from a professional athlete background. So she was an Olympian and she is a badass. And within that journey, like, she has been parts of different teams where they ate different foods. And so, like, she's been aware of her body her entire life. So all of these stringent standards that we observe at Prema are from like a lifetime of Kelli living in this body and finding the things that bring optimum function. Plus, as she says, she has like coffee talk with Dr. Bart every morning. So there's this continuous sense of whittling things away, to the extent that we opened the restaurant like 2 years ago. We've always had these 4 pillars, but even then we start to refine, like, okay, this brand has been purchased by someone else, and so that brand no longer serves us. So we all know, those of us on this health path, that with the awareness of your health comes an invitation to become like an eagle eye at all sorts of things, just aware of like what's in the foods you're eating. And I want to tell you that there is no more sharper eagle eye than Kelli Precourt. You can trust that she has researched that phone call to the chickens. That was not one phone call, you guys. That was a lot of research and a lot of time to figure out what was going to be the best. So I really love that, Kelli, that all of your life experience has led you to this point to be so specific about what you put into your body.
Thank you. I went into the kitchen the other day and we were like prepping for the cleanse stuff, and Steph had purchased some just to try it, and it was like some toasted sesame oil, and it wasn't organic because they just didn't have it. We weren't using it at the restaurant, but she was testing it, and I was like, I walked in, I was like, what's that? And someone else was like, oh, you're funny. I'm like, get that out of here.
Get it up, gotta go.
Yeah.
And thanks for mentioning that, Whit, because often as a practitioner, I'll have people say it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
And to that, I'll often say that it's hard if you're not looking, but once you start looking, it's not that hard anymore.
No.
Would you agree?
Agreed. Yeah.
Especially in today's environment.
Yeah.
It's easier and easier to eat healthier and healthier. And
especially just coming off the cleanse. I mean, like, why would you want to put stuff in your body after 21 days of clean eating?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. So and then I think the other part that I would like to just kind of remind everyone, if it's hard, it's probably worthwhile. That's the challenge. So going to a gas station, open up a bag of chips and just eating is very, very easy.
Yeah.
Right. That would be easy. What's hard is to feel good after that, is to feel vibrant, to be, 20, 30, 40 years into your life, 50 years, 60 years into your life, and still have energy, vitality, creativity, function, passion, et cetera. And as a result of those things and those desires, that's when what used to be hard now becomes passionate.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's continue to talk about some of the obstacles. And the reason I want to continue to go here, because I think that everyone thinks, well, I don't know this. There's often people think, well, it's hard for them, therefore it can't be done. It was hard for us, right? The idea of always sticking to our guns, always compromise. So the conversation often about cost comes up, right? So
Definitely.
We could do things cheaper.
We could.
And prices will probably change over time. And then we experiment. How often, or how important is that part of it? Because for our listeners, I think they think especially going through the cleanse, we have to have meals that don't work out so good.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah,
So
totally.
how important is the experimentation part of making things right?
As far as bringing something new to the menu?
Yes.
Or...
How hard are you working? Just like what we
Yeah, I mean,
talked
I
about.
would say like every 7 recipes, 1 comes out good, if not every 8 or 9. I mean, it's, you know, some are amazing and some are like epic fails just because we know the consumers wouldn't eat it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about an epic win for a moment. This is my favorite one. A little shout out to our manager, Steph. I've been begging and asking for an egg sandwich since Prema's opened. And somehow I got into Steph's ear. She's like, all right, I can do this.
Yes.
And she nailed it. Home run, world's best egg sandwich. So if you've never had, and so this is what's the challenge. Give an obstacle. We were looking for an organic, gluten-free, non-canola oil bread.
Yeah, which is hard.
For nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. So we finally purveyed one, found a local company that worked with us to meet that standard, which is absolutely beautiful. And then we had to give it to our manager, who's also like our head creator.
Yeah.
And she then had to make it taste good.
Right.
So,
right.
So maybe just shed a little bit more light on things like that, how that creative process happens, or even on something like bread.
Yeah.
Or how about this? I'm not to interrupt you there. When you started pointing out to me that most of the breads had canola oil in it, that was shocking to me.
Right. And I know, and that's the thing, like you're an educated consumer, right? And that's for us was very difficult to find a bread that tasted good, because let's just talk about it. I mean, if you're gluten-free, you're definitely not eating the best, right? I mean, like it can still taste good, but like it's not like the bread that we're used to, that we grew up with.
Right.
So you have this like thought that it's going to be that way, and it's not. It's a little bit different. So what's important is that the flavors around that bread are really good, because the truth is the bread is kind of just a vehicle, right? And so we are Nature's Baker, who is here in Destin, Florida. I mean, they ship all over the country and they've done a great job. Their bread is phenomenal, and it's a sourdough, gluten-free, no canola oil bread, and Darcy's done a really beautiful job.
Yeah, and a little shout out again to Steph, and I think I want to shout out, we talked about it earlier, Savannah, a good friend of ours.
Yeah, Savannah.
Who with all you guys were sitting in
the kitchen downstairs.
In our kitchen right here in the house.
Yeah.
So all right. So
it has taken a village to get to where we are. I mean, all of the people that have come in and have left and that have been a part of our team.
So a big question. We get asked it all the time, and I'll let you answer it. Are we going to see another Prema?
So I would love to offer what we offer to more people. What we have in Seagrove is very special. It's small. I would love to be able to expand out and touch more people, because one of the things that Prema does is it educates people about eating healthy. And so whether it's like a mom that comes in and she wants her kids to eat healthy, or a wife that wants her husband to eat zucchini and it's, you know, a smoothie, it's just that education just allows people to make small changes in their life and they feel better. It's nice when you feel good. So
what I just heard is that there's a good chance we're going to see another Prema.
Yeah, I think at some point we definitely will expand. We will.
So,
yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, there's a formal request via Zoom from Kim to have one in Kentucky. She does note that it's in the top 5 most obese states, so it would be a wonderful place to offer some healthy foods.
Oh my goodness.
Kim may be coming to your area.
Yeah.
All right, so let's help our consumers here. So let's just say we're talking to a mom who their kids are picky.
Okay.
And the mom really wants them to eat healthy. You're going to send them to Prema. What do you send them to order? If you had top 1 or 2 period, not too confusing, what do you send the mom there to get for their child, so they can experience? And this is the idea, because it's got to be yummy. What could also be healthy for them, and what else might they experience there that would just be awesome?
I think for certain, any of the smoothies are kid friendly, and we formulated the Berry Love specifically for kids. It has chia seeds in it. It has a beautiful herbal tea. And then it also has coconut butter. So you have that fat in there with the strawberries and the blueberries.
Fiber.
And, yeah. So that for sure. And then I would say, I mean, you know, everything's so good. What were you going to say?
I would say just witnessing it, the acai bowl, that the reviews we get on the acai bowl and the way that people light up when it's delivered.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's the experience part. So that I know you're really picky about as well.
Yeah.
Even though at home, you do a good job here too. Maybe it's me that doesn't.
Yeah, I plate our food nice.
You really do when I think about that. Right? Just plop it on mood. All right, shovel it down, whatever. So how much of that is important? Like, is that an obstacle as well? Like how we plate and what you position it in and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So I'm a little anal about certain things. So I like it a certain way. And you know, I think that, you know, in today's day and age, it's like people want to see these beautiful, like, you know, displays of food. And what's so beautiful about the smoothie bowls is that the colors pop, and then you see the fresh berries and the banana. So like it can be really pretty, or you can just slop it together. So you're not going to get it just slopped together. I mean, it's very pretty and, you know, displayed in a nice way.
Okay. So now for the individual, I'm going to say the healthy wife is dragging along their husband. They're therefore early, and he likes his muffins. Can he come to Prema? Can he eat something healthy?
He can definitely come.
What does he get?
Well, so I have a funny story about a wife that brought her husband in, and he looked at the menu. He goes, "I want this, but no zucchini." And he walked out, and the wife goes, "Put the zucchini in there. He won't even taste it." The wife did that. But anyway, so I would say if someone comes in, any of our gluten-free pastries are just awesome. They're organic, obviously gluten-free, no canola oil. They're made with love, and they all have some sort of fat, some sort of fiber.
So again, and I think part of the reason I'm bringing this up is that we forget that you literally can go have amazing, yummy food, treats for that matter. I'm not saying that you should eat a scone every day, but maybe you would like to.
Yeah.
But we have scones, we have breakfast cookies, we have little egg bites. All right, now.
And we have a full menu of like grab and go salads, and we have soups, and we have tuna salad and chicken salad. And we've got beautiful sweet treats with intentionally made like protein in there and healthy nuts.
So it sounds like if you happen to be a vegetarian, you could do fine there.
Absolutely. If
you happen to be keto, you could do fine there.
You would do great.
Yeah, which is interesting. We worked really hard to be able to serve just about everybody the best that we can in this healthy environment. And so just because it's a lot, we do use a lot of organic plants. We also have organic, you know, chicken. We have a lot of other products here that allow us to get a lot of good, healthy proteins.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's just say that's now, I'm going to stick with the healthy wife, healthy mom version. And they bring in the husband who wants a protein kind of lunch or breakfast, that matter.
Okay.
What's the one thing? So I'm going to hold you to. Give me one thing that you know that the guy is going to be like, well, that was pretty good.
I would definitely say the egg sandwich.
The egg sandwich, yes, no doubt.
The eggs, well, the avocado toast is good as well.
But the guy, you're talking about the guy.
Yeah, the egg sandwich. I would add an extra egg, and definitely he would walk away happy.
So that's my vote. So a little bit of heaven for me, and I can't do it when I work because it makes a mess. Yeah, a double egg sandwich.
Yeah. And
it is just literally euphoric. Like there's nothing better.
Yeah.
So it just checks all the boxes. I don't even know what's all in there, but it's just
a lot of good stuff.
It's just
there's
absolutely
pesto in
there's
there,
pesto
butter.
in there. There's like spinach or arugula or something.
Yeah, greens.
There's greens.
Raw cheese,
fiber, fat, and protein. How we figured out how I really got to give the credit to the team on this one. Figured out to keep that formula, fiber, fat, and protein in an egg sandwich.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. Which is completely different than if you go get an egg sandwich on, say, a biscuit, and now you're matching your fats and proteins with starches, which is contrary to being healthy. And
it's also the egg quality. Like that's the thing that I, you know, it challenges me because a lot of people will advertise that like their eggs are cage free. And in my mind, I see those chickens that aren't in small cages, but they're in that like big building and they're like all cramped up.
Yeah. Greenwashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are important terms we look at. And you and I have talked about these on the Health Made Simple show. When things just say non-GMO or they just say cage free, and there's another one out there. We don't do beef in our cafe, but just if something says, if it says that it's grass fed, it still needs to be organic. There's really not a cow on the face of the earth that hasn't eaten some grass, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that you're looking for grass fed, grass finished when you're
and organic, because we don't want them eating soy.
Yes,
right,
absolutely,
and organic, GMO corn, etc.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting closer to time here. Do you have any questions on there? If not, I got a couple here.
I've got some pretty sweet stuff over here. I do want to share what Diane just wrote us here on Zoom, that she loves everything about Prema. She loves the name, the food, the staff, the bright decor, the glass containers. The intention behind it is felt every time she goes there. It has helped her learn to feed her body better and better. And she had the egg sandwich today, and it was amazing.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank
I
you.
have a really fun question from Eric. His question is your farm going to help with the cafe?
That is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes, and the answer is absolutely, Eric. So we haven't spoke about it too much, but we'll kind of unleash a little bit. So Kelly and I, about a year ago, purchased some property with the intentions of we don't know, kind of like we bought the building next door.
It's how we roll.
Yeah. Which ready, shoot, aim. And we bought this beautiful property. Both of us knew, very similar to, and I think a lot of times this just happens in life.
We are guided by the divine. Like that's the way that we roll. I mean, we definitely,
when you know.
Yeah.
Right.
We listen deeply.
Yeah. And I think, and I know it sounds odd, but I think it's real. Having a clean vessel.
Yes.
Helps makes your decisions very quickly and very sincere.
Yeah.
Very authentic.
Yeah. And like,
that you know, and you'll figure out the rest later.
Right.
Yeah. So we bought a farm. I say it was a farm, it was just property with no intentions originally. We bought it. It was beautiful. It felt right energetically.
Yeah.
And over this past year, we've really kind of now had this brainstorming and a vision for what this is about to be. And we are deep into creating planting our orchard. The orchard should be planted by next week, which has been a lot of fun work for me. That's been my farm work. And then we're also so it's January, February, March. By March, we should be full blown into raising chickens.
Yeah. We're going to be in the chicken business.
So down the road. For the eggs, correct.
Yeah, for the eggs.
And then we'll
for the cafe.
Yeah. So we will be in a position at some point, probably near the end of the year or this time next year, probably fully supplying the cafe with all of the eggs from our farm.
Yeah.
And we will also be supplying most likely with some other things like the blueberries and the apples. And those are going to take a little bit more time. And we have a whole bunch more. We've kind of opened up this incredible exciting part of this next venture of growing and being at one with nature. And I think it's given us a whole nother appreciation
totally
for the foods that we have in Prema.
Yeah. And also even a deeper belief about taking care of the land that we live on, as far as like not using, chemicals, harsh chemicals, and giving back to the earth when we maybe remove a tree or, remove something.
And we started the compost.
Yeah.
So we're doing composting now. So we have, which we
take from the restaurant, like Bart every Friday takes 3 big barrels of all of the scraps that we have from the juice, and we're putting it on the land.
Banana peels, coffee grinds, eggshells, all of it. And a nice little side effect there is that we literally have less garbage pails going to the side of the street.
Yeah.
We're using less plastic bags. So, to that conversation, that everything matters.
It does.
It does matter.
Yeah.
And so we're super excited. Eric, thanks for the question. And I will absolutely be filling in, more and more details. We'll probably be doing at times. So right now we're planting trees that look like these little
Charlie Brown
trees. So, they say like hurry up and watch the grass grow. We're going to be in that environment for a little bit. So some super, super good things. And so I think that's going to feed the desire and the passion to possibly creating another Prema down the road as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, I think we're probably close to that time. So let me leave it in your hands and kind of closing this up here. If someone was thinking about coming to Prema or just thinking about starting to eat organic, what's a couple things here, and this we can expend this as long as you want to spend time on it. Where's a good start for somebody that hasn't eaten organic in the past? What's one of the simpler things that they can still go, wow, well, this tastes just as good as that one did? And if they are going to come to Prema, if you had to make them or invite them to only do one or two things, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I know that's not fair. People ask me that all the time. So I know my answer now. I'd get a repair latte and a cup of coffee and I'm good to go. I'm sorry, a repair latte and my egg sandwich with double egg.
Yeah,
happy.
It's so hard because there are so many fabulous items on our menu. And, I think about our chicken salad. We've had it since the moment we opened, but we make our own avocado mayonnaise and it's delicious. If someone came in and they wanted to just kind of get a feel for who we were, definitely one of the specialty lattes, because you don't really find them anywhere else. Definitely a specialty latte. Be open to trying a different milk. We don't carry, dairy. So being open to just trying something new in your latte, possibly. And then the acai bowl people absolutely love. I'm going with avocado toast.
Wow. Yeah. And it's
so good. The egg sandwich is great too.
I know I said last thing, but I want to end on one more thing. So let's just talk tribe for a moment, and let's talk on almost three capacities. Here we have the tribe, you and I, the foundation of really what Prema is from, and I'm very blessed to have this as my foundation of my tribe, and then we have our team, the importance of that, and then we have our community. Speak to the importance of those tribes.
I think that all of this, our vision, our dreams, right, would not take place without the tribe that's actually doing it every day. That's in there, making the milks, that are showing up at 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and that are there till later, and that are prepping food at night. So that tribe to us is an extension of Bart and I. So the concepts, the menu, all of that is just an extension. And obviously they're putting in the work. And then the community has been so supportive and so amazing, just open to trying something new and being patient with our parking lot and being patient with waiting, because everything is fresh, obviously. And also, we've had problems with supply chain, right? So like being patient with everything from the bottle changes to juice machine breaking down to not having, cucumbers for a full week. So I love the fact that the community just keeps coming back and supporting us, even though we've got some hiccups and we've had some challenges.
I'll double down on that. The community has been incredible. It really, really has. I want to thank every one of you who have come by Prema, or you're just sending us some love either way. We can't do without you. There's no doubt about that. And as a result of you, we're being able to do more and more. So thank you so much for participating and trusting us, quite frankly. And I wouldn't say just keep doing it. We'll just keep raising the bar. I know we just keep adding, right?
We do.
That's creative part. Now that our team is so incredible and everyone's moving and grooving in the same direction, there's a fun part of seeing what is next. So, well, this has been awesome.
Yeah. Fun time.
Well, I want to thank my special guest for joining us tonight. This isn't the last we're going to have with this conversation, although I want to say that the next time we're going to see the special guest, we're going to be talking about food, but in a whole different light, and it's going to be all about dogs.
All things dogs.
All things dogs. Yeah. So the next time you see her here on this show, it'll be about all things dogs. And Whit, I want to say thanks again to you. Appreciate you. You know that you are part of the core of this team and this tribe.
Yeah.
And again, one more shout out to all of our audience. So thank you. If you haven't had the opportunity, even if you don't live here, it is definitely worth a vacation trip down here and join us.
To eat at Prema.
Just to eat at Prema, and possibly join us and see the most beautiful beaches in the entire country.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just thank you to everyone, and thanks, Whit. It was fun.
We love having you here, Kelly. Thank you so much for jumping on with the Health Made Simple show tonight.
You're welcome.
Well, keep doing your thing, everyone. Keep sharing out, keep spreading the love. And of course, continue to take deliberate action for your mind, your body, overall wellness. Y'all be awesome.